Hey folks, I'm Sarah and I'm on the 2025 jury for what I think is the best book prize for literary fiction from small presses. It's called the Republic of Consciousness Prize, United States and Canada, and it is dedicated to literary fiction from small presses in North America. Over the next few months, I will be sharing every single book nominated for the prize, and while I can't share my personal opinions on each book just yet, I will share enough details so that you can get to know the book and the publisher. Every book gets its very own video, and you are not going to want to miss a single one. Next up is book number 39, Play with Knives. That's Play, with Knives by Jeanette Horn, published by Regal House Publishing. This fun, eccentric novel follows a small theater troupe who travel across the Midwest by train. They actually live on a set of vintage train cars that are picked up and dropped off every week by sleeper trains. So the sleeper train comes in one week, picks up on the end, hooks up their vintage cars on the end of the train, takes them to their next town in the Midwest, drops them off, and then they're picked up by another train the next week after their set of performances. The troupe only performs in small Midwestern towns that are named after European cities. So, for example, Stockholm, Indiana, Paris, South Dakota, Rome, North Dakota, Berlin, Indiana, Warsaw, Michigan. So they only play in these towns that are named after these European cities. And one of the characters actually has a very clever and almost bittersweet relationship with these pseudo-European towns that you'll have to discover for yourself when you read the book. The troupe has recently lost their leading man and the best actor of the bunch, a guy named Ben, who was hired by a Shakespearean company in New York and has left this small troupe far behind. And so they're left with only 4 actors. And one of those actors is actually also the playwright. So she not only writes the plays, directs the plays, but also has to act sometimes multiple roles in the plays. And then one of the other actors, who's the one who has to step up and become the leading man in all the plays, suffers so intensely from stage fright that he vomits before every single performance, which becomes quite hilarious. And then there is actually a 5th member of the troupe. It's the set designer. And they convince him, after Ben splits, they convince him to act in one and only one play, and once he does it, he swears he's never going to do it ever again. The characters in here are larger than life. There is a bartender who appears on every single sleeper train and serves them their drinks every single time they're on a train, who looks just like Abe Lincoln. There's also a fox who kind of sneakily maybe lives on the train with this troupe. There are several plot threads going on here. There's a love story, but it's also a story of creative ambition and creative failure. And Jeanette Horn is a writer who actually began her career as a poet. She earned an MFA from the University of Iowa Writers Workshop, and she currently lives in Austin, Texas with her husband and her dogs, and Play with Knives is her debut novel, though she's published lots of poetry before. Regal House is a publisher who strives to seek, support, encourage, and disseminate literary talent that might otherwise remain unread for lack of publishing opportunity. They have a bunch of different imprints, and they publish everything from literary fiction to YA and middle grade. They were founded in 2014 by a writer named Janie Royal, who says, "I founded Regal House Publishing after years of navigating the tortuous route of traditional publishing, arriving at the conclusion that publishing, generally speaking, did not have to be so unreceptive, unfriendly even, to the author. So I founded Regal House determined to do things differently. I wanted to establish a publishing house that served as a true partner to the writers under its roof, one that sought to empower and support its authors." One of the big themes in this novel is truth, and in fact, one of the characters thinks of acting as a kind of lying, and so he refuses to do any acting because he says he can't lie and he won't lie. So part of the plot of the novel is convincing this character that performance can be its own kind of truth, even if you are pretending to be someone you're not. And that got me thinking about how both theatrical performance and fiction can play with this idea of pretending and make-believe while also digging deep for something true. An actor might dig deep to their own lived experiences to perform feelings like love and anger and jealousy, but then they use it to become someone they're not. And similarly, an author might dig deep into their own life experiences to convey a story that has truth to it, but is comprised of details that are made up. And I'm going to link to a cool piece in the New York Times that just came out as I was preparing to film this. It was like perfect timing. So it's a series of interviews with actors, asking them how they access feelings and how they make feelings come across as true feelings on the screen and in their performances, even though they're performing a role and pretending to be someone they aren't. So I'll leave a link for that below, because there were some really provocative responses to that question from a lot of really amazing actors. And I really enjoyed thinking about this theme of performance and truth and their relationship to one another. And I'm wondering, in that same vein, if you have examples of novels that take place in the theaters or with actors as characters that play with this theme of performance and truth. Let me know in the comments your examples if you have any, and this is my example for you. And that's just one of many incredible books nominated by one of many incredible publishers. The long list of 10 books is usually announced in mid-January-ish, but I guarantee you there are going to be more than 10 amazing books from these nominees. So if you love offbeat, under-the-radar literary fiction, you are going to want to follow along. Click above or below for the next nominated book. If I've filmed it, it'll be available there. If not, stay tuned for just a little while longer. And in the meantime, you can click the playlist below that will contain all of the nominated books that I've shared so far. Again, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.